Yep.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started with the Colby Act. A lot of you have already seen and heard the Colby Act, but I happen to be able to get my graduate son here with me today, so I'm going to give him a shot at the mic and tell you a little bit more, and then we'll field some questions. Introduce yourself.
My name is Colby Spangler. The Colby Act is very important to me. I can make decisions for myself as for comfort when I need it.
That's right. So I don't know if you've noticed, I've kind of touched on it. There's been a big theme here today, and that theme kind of circles around you don't know what you don't know, and with a little bit of support, then you know, and then you can make some really good decisions with that knowledge, right? So that kind of lays the foundation for the Colby Act. What we noticed in Colby's life, and he even said this to us on Mother's Day, is that we were off to a good start, and we're in a good place now. But there was a whole lot of hard work and disappointment in between. And I know I'm preaching to the choir because every single one of you have walked that walk. So what we were seeing is that that hard work, the disappointment, all of those battles in between, that was because Colby wasn't necessarily being listened to. We had a lot of people telling us what to do or not telling us what to do. But nobody in all of those processes, all of those experts, nobody was really looking at Colby and asking Colby what Colby wanted to do. And we didn't really have that aha moment until we were in high school with Colby. I'm saying we because I feel like I walked through high school with him. But when Colby, at every opportunity, every time, when Colby was asked, Colby, what do you think? Colby, what do you want? He had an answer. We just needed people to listen to Colby. And so that began our journey with supported decision making because we were noticing when and if Colby's voice is heard, things go well for Colby and for everybody else. So we want to bring supported decision making to Alabama. It's already in about 14 states. The legislation has passed. When Colby was in high school and graduated, we were learning about supported decision making. I made Colby a promise and said, I promise this is one thing Alabama will not be last on the list for. We're not going to be last. We might not be in the middle. We might not be, we're obviously not first, but we are not going to be last. So no matter how long this takes, we're going to get supported decision making in Alabama. It's a good thing.
Pass the Colby Act, give voices to choices.
Very good.
Right.
That would be the video. So we're going to let you watch a quick video from Alabama Care. After receiving the diagnosis, Colby likes to ask questions. He's determined to find the answers.
I like to ask why a lot.
The one question I can't answer for him yet is why he was born with cerebral palsy. I knew he was going to be challenged in life after receiving the diagnosis, but I was not prepared for the constant battles we faced to get the services and supports he would need. To see how much he has already overcome speaks directly to his determination and perseverance to seek solutions.
I like to dream big.
After an end-of-the-year band concert in high school, the seniors were recognized for their accomplishments and announced their upcoming plans to attend college. Each senior proudly announced the name of the college they had chosen. So, of course, on the way home, Colby asked,
Where am I going to college?
and that was a question I was not prepared to answer. So, with a knot in my chest, I said, I'm not sure yet, but we can look at some online, okay? We learned about Think College programs, and all of a sudden, a whole new world of possibilities had opened up for Colby that we had no idea even existed.
I can do this.
Colby started talking about college in his IEP team meetings, and they listened. And it wasn't easy at first because the more we learned about these programs, we realized there were certain criteria to meet for acceptance. And one of those was that Colby needed to remain his own guardian. Some programs required it, and some preferred it. That's when we learned about a new phrase called the School to Guardianship Pipeline. Many schools unintentionally steer students like Colby to seek out guardianship when it's not necessary.
I know I can choose for myself. I don't need a guardian.
The advice was well-intentioned, but if we had taken it and become Colby's legal guardians, he would not be where he is today. Now he's in college and about to graduate.
In college, I have mentors and friends who help me with different things.
Colby lives an hour away from home on his own now, and we quickly realized he deserves this level of independence, and that if it's going to continue, we will have to step back and let go more every day. That is really hard for me. So I did what most moms do when we get scared or unsure and we just want to protect our kids. I went into detective mode. I went online, I did some research. I reached out to other moms who'd been there, done that with this age and stage. That's when I learned about something called the supportive decision-making model. And in my research, the Alabama Council for Developmental Disabilities introduced us to something called Charting the Life Course Tools. I shared this information with Colby and he liked it too. So we put these two ideas together and created Colby's Dream Team.
I love my dream team.
We have some amazing people contributing to Colby's Dream Team. They are all experts at what they do and mutual friends who know Colby pretty well. The value of building relationships outside of a network of paid supports has been vital for Colby's success. With more natural supports comes more independence. The outcomes we've seen from his relationships with these team members create more opportunity for inclusion at an exponential rate.
We get by with a little help from our friends, White.
One very important relationship we've built through the years is with Alabama's Disability and Advocacy Program, or ADAP. Our friends at ADAP know the long history of the fight for rights for people with disabilities. ADAP works closely with our courts on issues related to guardianship in Alabama. Everything Colby is doing right now is making a huge difference for guardianship reform. I'm incredibly proud of Colby, and I know he's paving the way for many more to come. I know a big part of the answer to his why is to keep asking others,
Why not? Let's make the Colby Act happen. Help us bring Dream Team to Alabama.
I want to ask a quick question. How many of you use supported decision making right now? Any hands? Two. It's a trick question. We're all using it. We're just not calling it that. So how many of you have a hairdresser? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So when you walk into your hairdresser, you don't just sit down and say nothing. You start asking questions, telling them what your ideas and opinions are, and then you both together, with that hairdresser support, come to a decision on how you are going to get your hair done. How many of you have a financial advisor? How many of you have somebody that gives you counseling, like a pastoral counselor or a therapist? How many of you have a way to go online and look at customer reviews before you make a purchase, right? Those are all examples of supported decision making. We're all using it. We've been doing it for our whole lives. We're probably going to keep doing it. Doesn't it make sense for somebody with a disability to use it too? Right? So when communication is there, and a lot of it is, whether we recognize it as such or not, especially with technology today, there should also be supported decision making. All right? So the Colby Act timeline. We created the content for the bill, and when I say we, it wasn't just me. We had a lot of help from the Developmental Disability Council, from James Tucker with ADAP, a lot of help with the content of the Colby Act, and a lot of it you can go online at supporteddecisionmaking.org and look at what other states have done. All right, so the bill filed March 2022, again with a lot of help. Big team effort here through contacts and connections, and Mr. Isbell is the sponsor going forward, and that came from Pippa. So thank you, Pippa, right? And then our next steps are to educate, advocate with Alabama stakeholders. Those are the legislators, the school systems, families, and the judicial system. And so the way we're planning to do that is speaking at every event and engagement. We can possibly get the microphone. So if you know of an event coming up through your organization or any kind of affiliation that would be interested, please send us an email. And we would love to go and speak and spread the word. Other meetings, one-on-one, and then going forward, just advocating, social media, all the different outlets. So the timeline for passing the Colby Act, I would have liked to have done it yesterday, but after hearing Dustin's speech, it may take a while, but that's okay. We're in it for the long haul, no matter how long it takes, and we hope that you are too. Oh, what would I do without them? So we also have a plan for the how-tos. We want, after we pass the Colby Act, we want to host statewide workshops instructing schools and families toward creating an SDM team. This doesn't have to wait until after we pass the Colby Act. It can happen now, but what I don't want to do is get too divided with my attention and our attention going forward. I really want to focus on passing the Colby Act and give a lot of attention to that. But I think there's also going to be a place and a space for helping families understand how to create those supportive decision-making teams. Because it's not a, okay, here's my people, we're going to do this kind of a thing. It's a process. And for us, it took about 3 years to get the team started. And we're about 2.5, 3 years into practicing with the team. And so I think there's a good space for that here in Alabama. And then lastly, we want to build communities of practice with the disability advocates using this model because we know it works. So we want to put it out there as its own model. There's lots of different ways to do it, but doing it is the big part. What counts? How are you doing that? Okay, good. Okay, so here's how we need your help. Create a signed letter of support for the Colby Act from your local provider agency, your disability nonprofit, or other people's with disabilities, and email that letter to us, right? So the more the merrier. The more support letters we can get to give to our legislators, the better off we all will be. Call, write, meet with your legislator, discuss the value and the importance of the Colby Act. If you don't want to go by yourself, give us a call, we'll go with you. But getting to that local grassroots level of who your legislators are is going to help in a big way. And then lastly, just talk it up. We need co-sponsors. It's a bipartisan issue. It's not a Republican or a Democrat thing. This is for anyone and everyone. It's both parties. So wherever your political beliefs are, that doesn't apply here. So go and talk to your local legislators and tell them, and the people you know, the Colby Act is coming to Alabama. We'd like it here now. Right? Okay, is that it? We're good. Okay. Colby's got one more thing.
Teamworks make dream work. John Maxwell.
John Maxwell. Very good. Okay. Any questions? Oh, yes. Alex helped us do a website, thecolbyact.com, and we've got to add more content, but it's up. It's on. It's live. Is that how you say it? Yeah. Thank you. Sorry about that.
I'm real proud of how far they came and what they've done and what the process went through this year with Pippa. And I hope that you all will be her support team going forward next year before the next legislative session and get the word out there so we can get it passed next year. I think we could do it. We've got a great voice. Y'all are awesome people. What do y'all say?
Rock and roll.
A little bit louder.